Alright y'all, welcome back Helldivers. Today we are making our Automaton primary weapon tier list ranking video. I've been kicking this one down the road a little bit because we have like 30 weapons in the game and these videos tend to be a little bit longer, and I'm going to do a few things to try to speed that process up. So you'll see, instead of going by each weapon one by one, I'm going to take a category and I'm just going to throw them all up on the ranking list and then just kind of like talk about why I put them in those places. A few other things let's address before we get into the ranking. You know, this list is going to be my list because we have so many weapons, and because of the patch, a lot of weapons are really viable. So we're going to be have to be very picky with where we put weapons on S tier and A tier and stuff like that. So I'm probably only going to have a few weapons in S tier, but just know basically anything I would say B ranking and up, completely viable. I would say is effective against the automatons. This is an automaton list, and it's going to be on the upper tier. So let's be honest, most of those enemies have medium armor, and in a perfect world with the light penetration weapons, your 100% accuracy on their weak spots, that's great. But in reality, shit hits the fan with the automatons all the time. They're flinching you, the explosions are going off, you're getting ragged around. So light penetration weapons, you know, although they do hit devastator weak points and they can handle those, it's just, you know, viability wise, I would much rather have a medium penetration weapon that I know will get the job done efficiently, even if my accuracy is not 100%. But I think that's the preamble out of the way. If you like Helldivers 2 content, we are a more relaxed, chill way we cover the game. If that's your vibe, consider hitting that like and subscribe button, and yeah, let's get into the tier list. Let's start ranking these weapons. Now, first up, we're going to be talking about the assault rifles. Now, I'm going to throw all the assault rifles up there. I'm going to slowly start ranking them, and that's what you're going to be seeing. So obviously the medium penetration rifles, that's the penetrator and the adjudicator, are by far the best rifles for the automatons. The medium armor penetration for those weapons, it does a really good job. Now, I put the tenderizer up there because something I forgot to mention was light penetration weapons that either do a boatload of damage or just have like some insane handling and like little recoil. Those I still think belong in a B tier as viable because of how easily they are to use, or in the case of the tenderizer, just how much raw damage it does. So when you do hit those weak points, they get shredded. But the regular Liberator, although the regular Liberator is a good gun, it's just, again, that light armor penetration for that, and it just, I don't think it cuts it into the B tier there. And then the carbine, the thing is just the rate of fire, and it's just not very good. You know, it's not fun to use. It doesn't feel good against the automatons. You're reloading a lot, and then you're just, yeah, and you have to be up close. Not really my favorite pick. And then we have the Liberator concussive down there. The rate of fire on that thing is just so bad. And yeah, you lock down targets with it, but I would just rather be using anything else in the B tier to actually just kill the enemies outright. So if you want to rank that one a little bit higher, sure. It's just, it goes into my don't use category because the D tier for me is I just don't use these weapons against the automatons. It's not that they're bad, or it's just like I just don't vibe with their playstyle, because I would rather just take anything above them any day of the week. I don't use anything in the D tier because I don't vibe with it. So that's the assault rifles there. I think they do an okay job, but as you'll see, those B tier picks, they'll kind of get pushed down a little bit because I don't think the ARs are super great against the automatons, except for obviously the adjudicator and the liberator. I do think those are really good picks, and something against the liberator penetrator is what I'm talking about here. The liberator penetrator there is, you get it super early in the war bond. Like this is like what, second, third weapon you get. And this thing, it's a workhorse. It'll deal with everything that's medium armor penetration. Yeah, it doesn't do the most damage, but it's really easy to use, and you get it early. So I think that gun gets a lot of points there. And the adjudicator I just like a little bit better because it's a little more punchy. But anyways, that's the assault rifles. Let's move to the next category. All right, then moving on to the Marksman Rifles. So I'm going to put the counter sniper in A tier. Now this weapon, it's a little more polarizing because the skill ceiling for this weapon is extremely high, but there are rounds where I use that thing and I just can't get anything done because of the flinch or just the ragdolling or just my aim. I have potato aim, but I have friends who use this thing, and I've had rounds with this thing where I just absolutely slay out. And the fact that it can, you know, dunk on a Hulk's head and stuff, it dunks on everybody's head essentially. That's why it goes into A tier. I think that's a really exceptional weapon, but again, it's not the easiest to use, but if you get really good with it, ooh, it slays out. And then the regular diligence there, I like using the penetrator and the adjudicator a lot better. You could switch out, you could like flip flop the tenderizer. Those ones you can kind of just like juggle around. I wouldn't be too concerned about where those are ranked. And then the Constitution there, oh, I think sucks. It's an RP weapon. It is what it is. Some people are like, no, it's actually secretly really good. It's not. It's really not. It feels bad to use. It's not easy to handle, or it's easy to handle. You just don't get a lot of bang for your buck with that weapon. So it's going in RP tier. So just keep that in mind. And yeah, let's move to the next category. All right, next up we have some of my favorite weapons, the SMGs. Unfortunately, yeah, the Defender, the Pummeler, they kind of just do suffer from, you know, there's just being light armor penetration. The rate of fire is a little bit slower. They're much better against the bugs, but against the bots, they're one-handed. So you would think, okay, the ballistic shield. The ballistic shield is not good right now. I did something to it where it is built like paper, and then again the rockets and the ragdoll effects, it just doesn't do enough. It needs to be like a more full frontal, you know, defensive sort of stratagem to even pair with these, to even consider pairing with these. So that's why the SMGs sit there. I think they're good. I really like the SMGs. It hurts me to put them there, but that's where they belong. And then the Knight there, again, the rate of fire on it, it's just you can expend an entire clip into a Devastator unless you are, you know, again, we're talking about like if you're pinpoint 100% accuracy, yeah, that thing can work. But most of the time, I don't have those results. And so that's why it sits into the don't use, because it's just I don't really vibe with how it performs on the upper tiers. And then if you run into a rocket strider, yeah, just dude, this thing you can blow off the rocket sides on it, but no, it's just not a good pick there. And then we have the Reprimand. I like this thing a lot, actually. I think it's got great handling, and it's very punchy. Magazine is a little bit low, but it's a workhorse weapon there. You might be reloading it a lot, but you know, most of your shots are going to be doing good damage, and then you're going to get, you know, you hit the weak point eventually, or disable part of their, you know, limbs or something like that. And this thing is just, I think it's a really good weapon. It definitely sits in the viable. It's those three right there. So we got the Adjudicator, the Reprimand, and the Penetrator. Again, those are all very interchangeable on where you rank them. I think they're all very good weapons. So that's the SMGs out of the way. Let's I think the next one's up, the shotguns. All right, so we have the shotguns there, and let's work from the bottom there. So the Incendiary shotgun, the Breaker shotgun. I'm surprised they haven't reverted that ammo nerf on this thing. It's more of a bug weapon. Fire damage just overall, it just doesn't feel right against the Automaton. So even though something like, say, like the Cookout performs just as well as the Punisher, again, the fire damage kind of throws me off. It's just not my favorite pick there. That's why those two kind of sit at the bottom. I would just rather use the regular Liberator than those two. And then the regular Punisher shotgun there. I might move that one up a little bit later. That might deserve to be like a low B tier because, again, light armor penetration, but that thing does good stagger damage, and also just the burst damage that it does if you do aim at a bad spot. So that one maybe a little bit higher. Oh, I missed the spray and pray down there. Yeah, that's don't use. It doesn't feel good. The stagger on it's just not great, and then the bullet spread is just, you need to have more concentrated shots against the Automaton. So that's why it's sitting in the don't use. Not a big fan of it. The regular Breaker shotgun, though, I think that the Breaker shotgun and the Punisher, probably I could see you putting it a little bit higher in B tier, because they both they punch really hard. And in the case of the Breaker there, you know, it has a more concentrated volley, and it does really good damage. So that could be a little bit higher, but again, the light armor penetration, I'm just not moving it up any higher than that. But you can see once a shotgun gets medium penetration, I shoot them straight up to A tier. Slugger used to be an S tier pick for me, but that was before the 60-day bounce patch. And that thing, the Slugger, it was just a very dependable, I really like the playstyle of a more precision weapon with that one. But, you know, since we got the patch, a lot of other weapons have crept up in power. So I think it slides down as not really my favorite weapon anymore. I really love it, but it's not S tier for me at the moment. And then the new shotgun, the Holt. This thing is just really good. It's a lot of fun to use. A little bit of wider spread, but, you know, medium armor penetration, and then also the alternate stasis fire. I think that potential, now that one might slip down just a little bit because the damage it's okay, but you have to hit all the pellets to get that full damage, so that could be a problem sometimes. But it's a very reliable weapon, and then the Old Fire, I think that's something that it gets a lot of brownie points for, because it's it's the only weapon that has that alternate fire at the moment. So maybe in the case if we get more alternate firing weapons, that would slip a little bit. But right now, I think it sits at A tier, probably on the lower end of A tier. But that's the shotguns. They're faring, pretty decent. But yeah, let's go to I think it's the energy category next, and things are going to be changing a little bit. Yeah, and just really quick, I am moving some of these guns around a little bit. The Punisher and the Breaker going up to B tier. I do think they do belong there overall. Yep, just kidding. Wasn't the explosive or the energy category? It's the explosive category. So I did a little bit of adjusting on how I feel about the weapons, and I feel like this sits a little bit better with me. But now we have our first S tier pick there. That's the crossbow. Now I understand the crossbow isn't everybody's favorite weapon because of those 5 bolts, and if you miss 1 or 2 of those shots in your magazine, it just doesn't feel really good because you are reloading a lot. But if you are really accurate with this thing, just hitting in the general area, oh, this thing is so good, and it has great utility. One-handed, that explosive damage type, and then just the raw damage it does as well, and then the structure damage it can do. The crossbow does a lot, and it's really effective. And the crossbow, it covers so many facets of this game as far as like the enemies that you face, and especially those rocket striders. This thing puts those fuckers down. See, those things are annoying to run into, especially if you have a light penetration weapon. They take too many shots. But the explosive crossbow there, takes them down really efficiently. So that's why it belongs in S tier for me. And then the eruptor there, again, it's very punchy, very weighty. It does a great job of just taking out packs of devastators, because the way you want to use these weapons, or the explosives in general, is it's great to have cover, essentially, because you can just pop out, get a shot off, get back into cover, pop out, get a shot off, go back to cover, and those shots that you're getting off the bang for your buck for those it's just so much better than any other weapon on the list right now. So that's why they sit in A tier for there. And now we're gonna move on to the energy category. All right, and with the energy category, we'll start at the bottom there. Sickle and the Scythe, I think they do belong in B tier. Those are kind of like the exception with the light armor penetration. It's because how accurate they are, and how easy they are to handle, that you can really pinpoint those weak spots and get a lot done with them. So that's why they sit above, say, like, the regular Liberator and like the SMGs, because I do think of just how easy they are to use, how easy they are to aim, and then just their kind of like their damage potential. So that's why they sit there kind of like the low end to B for me. And then moving on to the A tier there, the Blitzer, the Arc Blitzer. Again, it ignores armor, and then its stagger damage. It's really good. It sits up there with, like, the other medium penetration shotguns, because it's a lockdown weapon, right? And as long as you're just hitting the target, it'll kill them eventually. And it does a better job at staggering than, say, the Liberator Concussive, because I talked about how I would rather just kill enemies outright with that. Well, the Liberator Concussive, it's just that rate of fire and you're only hitting one target at a time, and it just takes longer to kill things than the Blitzer. The Blitzer does a much better job at just locking down the enemies, and you don't have to reload, and it never runs out of ammo. It's just I think it's a really top tier pick on both sides of the faction, so for the bugs too. And then the Scorcher. Ooh, Scorcher is so good. It is one of my favorite weapons overall. The damage output. It does do medium armor penetration, essentially, because of the explosive way their bolts work, or I guess their plasma shots work. So I don't know why it says light armor penetration in general. It gets past those Devastator armor plates really easily and kills them efficiently. And also gunships, it handles really well. You just got to aim for the thrusters. Most of those weapons in A tier handle gunships as well, so that's like a bonus point. And then the Plasma Punisher there. Again, this is just a really good workhorse weapon. It handles everything that the bots have to throw at you. Maybe people don't like the way it fires, but I don't mind it so much. I think it's a really good weapon. And then another S tier pick, no surprise, is the Purifier. I've done a video on the Purifier and the crossbow. They do the same job. I think the Purifier is a little bit better, so that one's actually a little bit off. The Purifier should be ahead of the crossbow, because left or right does kind of matter for me. But I think the Purifier is a little bit better because the ammo economy with it's really forgiving. You get 15 shots, Yeah, just the purifier. It's just amazing. I don't know what to say about the purifier anymore than I've already made a video on it of just how damn good that gun is. And I barely see many people using it, so I don't know what's up with that. I don't know what's up with y'all. But whenever I dive, yeah, barely anybody's using the purifier. Maybe it's too good that maybe people like in other playstyles, but I'm not tired of using it yet. I'm having such a good time with it because it was so bad when it came out, and I wanted it to be so good because I like that style that it was going for, but man, it just missed the mark when it first came out. Now it's fixed, and I'm not tired of it yet. I freaking love it. So that's the energy weapons. They fare a lot better. They're probably the best category overall versus the automatons because all of them just do explosive damage type or medium armor penetration. They handle the bots really well, especially Devastators and then those Rocket Striders. So let's move on to the last category, which is the special category. So for the special category there, the Jar 5 Dominator, easy A tier. I know a lot of people probably want to put that into S tier because that thing has just always been a reliable weapon against the automatons. That thing, it just punches so hard. For me though, the handling on it's just a little sluggish, which is, it's fine. That's it's upper rankings of A tier, so I don't really have to justify where we're putting it. It's really good. And like I said, I'm being stingy with S tier because again, with the 60-day patch, a lot of these weapons got a huge glow up, and then the enemies got basically weaker. So a lot of these weapons are really good anyways. But so yeah, got a little bit more stingy with the rankings. But the Jar 5 Dominator, man, that thing it's such a good weapon, and we've had it for a long time, and it's been good basically the entire time it's been out. And then the flamethrower, put into C tier. It's just because it's close range. It's fire versus the automatons. Again, it just doesn't feel right for me, and it's okay. It's just not my favorite pick, and I'm tempted to put it in don't use, but it does do a lot of damage, and it can it does burn targets down. It's just doesn't feel right to be burning down robots. That's all. And then I think we're gonna shuffle things around a little bit. To even it out, because there are some things I think I want to change here. So I'm going to put the flamethrower in D tier. I don't ever use it, and I just don't like the playstyle, so I don't recommend anybody really use it at all. I'm going to keep that one down there, and then I'm going to put the plasma punisher above the eruptor and basically move the eruptor down. Now when it comes to this list, so we're talking about A tier real quick. Those 4 weapons there, so the Jar, the Plasma Punisher, the Eruptor, and the Scorcher, those are all very interchangeable depending on the day of the week. Just keep that in mind. They're all really good. Same goes for basically every other weapon, like batch wise. So like the Adjudicator, the Reprimand, and the Liberator Penetrator there, you can interchange those at any point. So just know if they're kind of like next to each other. Yeah, those could flip flop at any moment, and it just depends on the day of the week. But yeah, I think this is a list. I'm pretty happy with this. This definitely flows on like how I use each weapon, like how often I use them, and then kind of like how I feel about them. I feel like this yeah, it's a pretty good list here. Pretty solid. So that's the video. That's the tier list. Hopefully we got it done in a reasonable amount of time. Now that I have both lists out there, the next time we have a huge balance, I can do basically both factions at once without it being too long, because we have basically a reference point already, and this will be really easy to just adjust things accordingly. But yeah, that's the video. Let me know what your guys' ranking are, maybe what weapon I messed up. Remember, this is just my playstyle, so I am more than happy to have a discussion on maybe something I missed, or maybe a gun you really like. But yeah, that's the video. Thanks for making it this long, and yeah guys, I'll catch you in the next one. Peace and take care.